Not a big deal, though. It's on this side. On the other side. Other side. It's Friday, January 8th, and this is your coffee break on the HAN Network. I'm Kate Czaplinski, bringing you today's latest news. Sports editor Mike Suppy is filling in for Rob Adams today with local sports and has some highlights from last night's Danbury-Norwalk basketball game. Donald Ang will also join us later to take a look back on this day in history. But first, here are some of the local stories we're following today. A New Canaan woman turned herself into police on Wednesday to face charges for allegedly stealing jewelry and watches from a home on Gertie's Road in December. 29-year-old Kyler Cottrell of Lakeview Avenue was charged with first-degree larceny, a felony, and third-degree burglary. The Gertie's Road homeowner had reported the theft to police in December, saying there was no sign of forced entry, but an investigation led to Cottrell's arrest. She had a December 6th court date. A local man serving 17 years in prison for stabbing his former girlfriend and her new boyfriend in their Norwalk home was charged Thursday with seeking to have the two victims taken care of so they couldn't testify him in an appeal, according to the Connecticut Post. Devenson D. Block Petian, a member of the Bloods gang, according to police, was charged with inciting injury to persons. In January 2015, Petian, who's 28 years old, was convicted of 2 counts of first-degree assault after police said he showed up without an invitation to the birthday party of his ex-girlfriend. Police said he put a gun to the celebrant's head and pulled out a knife and cut a deep gash across the victim's face. He then slashed the woman's arm. Right after a Superior Court judge sentenced Petian to 17 years for the crime, he filed a civil appeal, contending that his court-appointed lawyer was ineffective. That appeal is pending. In the meantime, state police said Petian sent a letter to his current girlfriend, disguising the letter as coming from another inmate. In the letter, police said he provides his girlfriend with information on the whereabouts of his 2 victims, where they work, and what kind of car they drive, and urges her to get the information to another inmate about to be released from prison. And in Trumbull, a Rose Terrace man was arrested for assault in the 3rd degree and disorderly conduct last Friday after allegedly getting into a fight with his neighbor. Police said 30-year-old Chris Stevenson punched his neighbor in the back of the head and pushed him down during a verbal dispute over garbage. According to a report, police were called to a Park Lane home where the neighbor lives, and he told police that Stevenson accused him of throwing trash on his lawn that morning. The neighbor denied throwing any trash on the lawn. Stevenson admitted to police that he got into a verbal dispute with the neighbor, but hit him only after the man refused to clean up the trash. He was taken to police headquarters where he was processed and released on a $500 bond. He's scheduled to appear in court on January 11th. And police are investigating after a pedestrian was severely injured when she was struck by a vehicle while crossing a New Haven street. The Hartford Courant reports that a 37-year-old motorist who wasn't identified ran down 26-year-old Megan Perry of Milford around 10 p.m. Wednesday night as she was crossing Foxen Boulevard. Police say the driver was traveling northbound when the accident occurred. Perry was sent airborne by the collision. An off-duty firefighter witnessed the incident and remained on scene. The Milford resident was transported to Yale New Haven Hospital in critical condition. Police say her status was updated to serious and stable Thursday, and she is expected to recover. The driver is expected to be charged. Police say the vehicle he was driving was unregistered, uninsured, and had a misused license plate. More than 500 people have backed an online petition in support of a Ridgefield food vendor, Mark McManus, and his plan, denied by the Board of Selectmen there, to sell lunch from the Party Depot parking lot off Route 35. McManus's daughter, Mary Shepard, said the petition had been up on change.org for about a week, and she started the petition on December 23rd and has 565 supporters, the majority of which are current or former Ridgefield residents. In an introduction to the online petition, Shepard made her case saying that her father's truck, Only the Hungry, was a dream he had to semi-retire and serve great food. She said he spent his life savings, about $53,000, to make it happen, and then after a few weeks, the selectmen retroactively denied him the right to serve at that location. The selectmen approved a permit for McManus that allows him to work events and parties. Although they denied the location at Party Depot, the selectmen told McManus that if he found another location to set up regularly for roadside lunches, they would consider it. You can get more on that story at theridgefieldpress.com. And an important reminder about properly disposing of fireplace ashes, New Canaan Fire Marshal Fred Baker sent a photo to the advertiser saying there was a very close call 2 days ago in town, a garbage can enclosure fully destroyed due to ashes from the fireplace that had been placed there earlier, which of course could have caused much more serious injury had it spread to the house. Residents are reminded to use metal ash buckets with lids to safely dispose of their ashes. And in some other news in Reading, a briefcase was stolen from a car parked off Route 107 sometime overnight between Sunday, January 3rd and Monday, January 4th. According to police, a resident of the road left the car open overnight on Sunday and someone got in. The thief took a briefcase and a Coach makeup bag. Police Chief Douglas Fuchs said there is a good reason why residents should always lock their car and home locks. And switching gears now, taking a look at today's weather. It's currently 37 degrees in Shelton, but feels more like 31 degrees. There will be a high of 41 degrees today, and it will stay mostly cloudy. Tonight, reaching a low of 33 degrees in the area. A winter weather advisory has been issued for tonight through Saturday morning, mainly north of I-84 in northern Fairfield and northern New Haven counties. Although the National Weather Service is only forecasting trace ice amounts, it is enough to cause some icy spots on roads and walkways that could make travel difficult. Use caution if you're planning to travel in those areas tonight into early Saturday morning. And tomorrow, a high of 45 degrees is expected. And on Sunday, we could go up to 57 degrees, but it's going to be rainy and windy. But we'll keep an eye on that. We're going to step out now for a quick break. When we come back, Donald Eng is going to join us to take a look back on this day in history. Mike Suppy has the latest in local sports, and we have more news coming up on your coffee break after this.
Had a sports injury that needs immediate care? Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care gives you direct access to an orthopedic specialist quickly. Their highly trained orthopedic professionals expertly treat you without an appointment. Skiing, snowboard, or sports accident, sprain or fracture, Coastal Ortho Express can help. Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care open Monday through Saturday in the iPark building at 761 Main Avenue in Norwalk. Call 203-845-2070 or coastalorthoexpress.com. Find them on Facebook at Coastal Ortho CT.
Darien Sport Shop is a unique store because it's a family store. A busy mom can come in with kids in tow and find everything she needs for them, and even find a dress for herself for Saturday night. And if she's in a rush, she can simply go home and order it from us that night. We'll deliver it the next day. The Darien Sport Shop. We're pretty on the outside and amazing on the inside. Conveniently located with free and easy parking at 1127 Post Road, Darien, Connecticut. Or shop us online at dariensport.com.
Discover the Wilburton Inn in Manchester, Vermont, a 30-acre historic estate featuring a turn-of-the-century mansion with elegant inn guest rooms and 7 large private vacation homes, perfect for ski vacations and holiday celebrations. Special offer on select rooms and houses. Stay 2 nights, get the 3rd night free through Christmas Day. CNN has called the Wilburton one of the top 8 mansion hotels in America. Call 802-362-2500 or visit wilburtoninn.com for more information.
Walter Stewart's Market in New Canaan is your local destination for the best of the holidays. Shop Stewart's for the freshest produce, certified prime rib roasts, magnolia wreaths, fresh baked pies, gingerbread houses, Christmas candies, and the season's best wine and craft brews right next door at Stewart's Spirits. Shop Walter Stewart's, 229 Elm Street in New Canaan, or shop online at stewartsmarket.com.
Hi, I'm Rob Adams with my good friend Donald Eng, and we're the home team for Nutmeg Sports, Monday through Wednesday at 2 o'clock right here on the HAN Network. We are the place for all things Connecticut sports, so come hang out with us on Nutmeg Sports. Don? They don't call him the best color man in the game for nothing. Nutmeg Sports, 2 o'clock, Monday through Wednesday, right here on the HAN Network. Hi.
It's Friday, January 8th, and we're back on your coffee break on the HAN Network. I'm Kate Czaplinski. Time to throw it over to Donald Dang for a look back on this day in history. Don?
Well, Kate, the longest, most expensive, and arguably least successful war in our nation's history had its beginnings on this day. But first we go to another war. 1815, the Battle of New Orleans. Andrew Jackson leads the American forces to victory over the British in the increasingly inaccurately named War of 1812. The most decisive victory of the war, it prevented the British from capturing New Orleans and using it as a staging point for an invasion of the vast Louisiana territory. Unfortunately, it didn't count. Unbeknownst to the combatants, the Treaty of Ghent had been signed in Belgium on Christmas Eve, officially ending hostilities and resuming the status quo ante, that is, restoring the nations to their pre-war boundaries. To 1835 we go. Andrew Jackson, again, now President of the United States. The country's national debt is zero for the only time in history. Public debt had always existed in the country as the colonies had borrowed huge sums of money from France to fight the Revolutionary War. As a percentage of GDP, the national debt, by the way, reached its highest level during the Truman administration during and immediately after World War II, but it fell rapidly during the 50s and reached a low in 1973. Debt as a percentage of GDP has increased ever since, except during the presidencies of Jimmy Carter and Bill Clinton. 1975 we go. Ella Grasso becomes governor of Connecticut, taking the inaugural oath, the first woman to serve as a governor other than by succeeding her husband. Grasso gained a reputation as being a bit of a penny pincher who cut budgets to the minimum and reduced the number of state employees. Despite criticism of her financial policy, the economy prospered during that time, and she was reelected in 1978 with a broad margin. The high point of her career, probably the decisive handling of the blizzard of '78, the storm that dropped 30 inches of snow on the state, crippling highways and making virtually all the roads impassable. She closed the state by proclamation, forbidding all use of public roads, effectively closing citizens into their homes in order to speed the work of cleanup crews. And finally, we go to 1964, where President Lyndon Johnson made this declaration.
And this administration today, here and now, declares unconditional war on poverty in America. And I urge this Congress and all Americans to join with me in that effort. It will not be a short or easy struggle. No single weapon or strategy will suffice. But we shall not rest until that war is won.
That was President Lyndon Johnson declaring a war on poverty in his 1964 inaugural address. Deregulation, growing criticism of the welfare state, and an ideological shift toward reducing federal aid to the impoverished people in the 80s and 90s essentially culminated in the Personal Responsibility and Work Opportunity Act of '96. 22 years later, after the war on poverty declared, Bill Clinton declared the end of welfare as we know it today. 52 years after the war on poverty, vestiges of it remain, including the Head Start programs, food stamps, and the Job Corps. The war on poverty has cost an estimated $22 trillion, and today the percentage of Americans living impoverished lives has been reduced from 19% in 1964 all the way down to 15.1% in 2016. That is your rather sobering look back in history, and I am Don Lang.
All right, thanks so much, Don. Well, going to get back to a little more news today from your Monroe Courier. The Monroe Chamber of Commerce will be hosting a grand opening and ribbon cutting event for the cigar shop next Friday, January 15th at 6 in the evening. Jim Benton, manager of the cigar shop, invites the community to come celebrate the grand opening of this business located at 446 Main Street. According to the chamber, the cigar shop offers a comfortable and pleasant place to enjoy superior cigars and pipes. Following the closure of a similar retail smoke shop, Benton and a consortium of business owners renovated the 1,000 square foot facility into a cozy smoking lounge, complete with comfortable chairs, large screen TVs, free Wi-Fi, coffee, and bottled water, in an effort to make the cigar shop the premier destination in Monroe for customers to enjoy cigars away from home. In addition to the lounge, the shop also offers a separate retail area where humidity-controlled display cabinets sell some big brands. But you can get more information on that at MonroeCourier.com. Going to throw it over to Mike Suppy, who's filling in for Rob Adams today with the latest in local sports. Mike?
Thanks, Kate. Well, last night in SEC wrestling, Foreign High defeated Jonathan Law 72-7 at Frazier Gymnasium in a crosstown matchup. Coach Dave Esposito's 7th-ranked Lions improved to 11-2 overall and 4-0 in the SEC, behind wins by fall from Gino Esposito, Will Morrow, Jubilee Witt, Ryan Luth, Michael Ross, Umair Khan, Noah Hubler, Kasim Khan, Patrick Grinder, and Luke Edmondson at heavyweight. Elijah Moretti and Colby Stewart picked up forfeit victories. For Law, Troy Anderson won a 13-1 major decision at 106 pounds, and Dan Ollett an 8-4 decision at 152 pounds. Staying on the mat, the Fairfield Ward Mustangs will host Mahopac, New York, Staples, Cheshire, Wilton, Daniel Hand of Madison, Stamford, West Hill, McMahon, Maloney, Ludlow, Ward's B team, Simsbury, Northwestern Winstead, and Fairfield Prep at the Fairfield Ward Invitational on Saturday. The round of 16 will be held on 4 mats from 9:30 to 11:30 a.m. The quarterfinals, held on 3 mats, will be from 11:30 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. The semifinals and consolation quarterfinals, which will be wrestled on 4 mats, will go from 1:30 to 3. Consolation semifinals are from 3 to 4. And the finals and consolation finals, held on 3 mats, will be from 4:15 to 5:15. So head down there if you want to see some good wrestling. Now, over on the hard court, West Hill High defeated Weston in a non-league matchup by a 66-42 margin. Tyrell Alexander had a game-high 19 points for the Vikings, who improved to 3-2. Weston, which dropped to 0-5, had 9 points from Chris Hover. In the FCAC, in a game featured right here on the HAN network, Danbury took down Norwalk by a 65-51 count. Tyron McCrea poured in 21 points for the Hatters, who remained unbeaten at 5-0. Tyreek Langley led winless Norwalk with 14 markers. The Bears tumbled to 0-5. Staying in the FCAC but moving on to girls hoops, Norwalk pinned a 54-39 defeat on Danbury. In the Southwest Conference, Massac downed Bunnell 56-21. The Panthers improved to 4-5 with Julia Christos 15 points leading the way. Jasmine St. Clair scored 13 points for the Bulldogs, who fell to 2-6 overall. And finally, tonight in the FCAC, an interesting matchup going down between Trinity Catholic and Fairfield Ward, which will tip off at Ward at 7 p.m. With sports, I'm Mike Suppy.
Thanks, Mike. And I believe we have some highlights from last night's game that we're going to play right now. The HAN Network was there. It ended up being an exciting match. So, Joe, we're going to roll those right now.
From Norwalk High School, it is high school basketball on the HAN Network. Good evening, everyone. Up top, bounce pass goes left side for Nesbitt. Nesbitt drives the baseline, puts it home, and a foul.
Scott Nesbitt's basket is good.
Nice strong drive by Nesbitt. Gets the handle, gets the run.
Be proud. Bounce pass goes over into the left corner. They'll get it back and stolen away. Big Titus James drives down, and the jam home by Nesbitt.
Nesbitt with the basket.
Here's Maduro to the stripe. The 1-and-1, no good. But the offensive board. Now the deep 3 coming. That's good. Scott Nesbitt lighting it up. Aline from downtown. And it was off the mark, but the offensive board. Fox puts it home and a foul.
Fox's basket is good.
And on the dribble, quick pass goes left, gets it to Russell. Russell had it taken away by Judah James. James in a 2-on-1 bounce pass goes to Nesbitt. Nesbitt back inside looking Fox. Fox spins around. As the first half comes to an end, 17-point game. Under 4 to go in the third quarter. DeAndre Russell from downtown. It's good! DeAndre Russell has 5. It's 42-28.
Quarter has been a beast on the boards, especially with the second chance shot.
But heating up from downtown is Russell. Russell with 2 straight threes. It's 44-31. 3:05 to go in the third quarter. Russell takes a look. Russell bounce pass, goes left side. Stepping inside, Langley. Yes!
Langley with the basket.
Langley with a great drive in the elevation, able to get above the defenders to put it through. And it's kind of gotten Danbury out of control.
Tyron McCray, left wing, 3. That's a big answer.
McCray with the big high-arcing answer for him. Great start to the fourth quarter.
Langley, though, able to get 2. 7:20 to go here in the fourth quarter, 47-40. Right sideline, driving, stepping inside was McCray. Left side, here's Nesbitt. Oh, that's a big answer.
Nesbitt feeling it from that corner. He likes it out there. He was shooting from that corner early on and hitting them.
Back to 10. Langley off glass. Knocked around and turned over. It's a 2-on-1 as McCray waits for it. McCray fights off glass. Yes. And just like that, it explodes back to 14 with 2:58 to go. Back out Nesbitt. Down to 4. They're going to walk this one out, dribble it out, and the ball game is over. And the Danbury Hatters get a 65-51 victory over the Norwalk Bears.
That was our first basketball game of the winter season, but there's more coming up this weekend. Trumbull and St. Joe's face off in boys and girls basketball tomorrow at Fairfield University, and the HAN Network will be there. That starts at 6 p.m., so be sure to check it out. But right now we're going to step out for a break, and when we come back, we have some more local news. We're going to recap some of the top stories we're following today on your coffee break after this.
It's time to come back to hometown banking, where people are taken into account, not just balances. Where community comes first. A place where there's more than one kind of interest. Where automation will never replace consideration. Where they not only know your name, they know your dog's name too. It's time to expect more. It's time to bank well. Bank smart. Bank local. Bank well.
I really wanted something that felt like a home. Coming from a big house, I wanted the feel of a home as opposed to a condo. The construction is incredible, whether it's the floors, the fireplace, the moldings, the lighting. It's as peaceful as my home was in the middle of the woods. It feels like a house. It does not feel like a condo or a townhome. I feel like I'm in my house.
Find over 1,000 special stories at Hospital for Special Surgery. Go to hss.edu/backinthe-game.
I was jogging 5 months after my cartilage tear.
Skiing a year after hip surgery.
And playing grandma 4 weeks after hip replacement.
One special hospital, 1,000 special stories. See Connecticut patients at hss.edu/CT.
I'm John Kovach. I'm a newspaper editor. I'm a high school football coach. I'm a television presenter. And I want you to love fishing as much as I do. Tune into Yankee Fisherman, Thursdays at 1 on the HAN Network. It's like going to the tackle shop without leaving your office.
You are watching the HAN Network, and you're not alone. Nearly 500,000 viewers enjoyed our broadcasts in the first 5 months. Advertise on the network that reaches Fairfield County, Connecticut's most engaged audience. Contact Jessica Murrin, Advertising Director, at 203-273-7312 or email jessica@han.network.
And we're back on this Friday edition of Your Coffee Break on the HAN Network. I'm Kate Czaplinski, recapping some of the top stories we're following today, including that a New Canaan woman turned herself into police on Wednesday to face charges for allegedly stealing jewelry and watches from a Gertie's Road home in December. 29-year-old Kyler Cottrell of Lakeview Avenue in New Canaan was charged with first-degree larceny, a felony, and third-degree burglary. The Gertie's Road homeowner had reported the theft to police in December, but said there was no sign of forced entry. However, an investigation led to Cottrell. She was scheduled to appear in court on January 6th. And a local man, a Bridgeport man, serving 17 years in prison for stabbing his former girlfriend and her new boyfriend in their Norwalk home, was charged Thursday with seeking to have the victims, quote, taken care of so that they couldn't testify against him in an appeal. The Connecticut Post reports that DeVenson D. Block Petian, a member of the Bloods gang, according to police, was charged with inciting injury to persons. In January 2015, 28-year-old Petian was convicted of 2 counts of first-degree assault after police said he showed up without an invitation to the birthday party of his ex-girlfriend. Police said Petian put a gun to the ex-girlfriend's head and then pulled out a knife and cut a deep gash across the victim's face. He then slashed the woman's arm. Right after a Superior Court judge sentenced Petian to 17 years for the crime, he filed a civil appeal, contending that his court-appointed lawyer was ineffective. That appeal is pending. In the meantime, state police said Petian sent a letter to his current girlfriend, disguising the letter as coming from another inmate at the prison. In the letter, police said he provides his girlfriend with information on the whereabouts of the 2 victims, where they worked, and what kind of car they drive, and urges her to get the information to another inmate who's set to be released from prison. And police in New Haven are investigating after a pedestrian was severely injured when she was struck by a vehicle while crossing the street. The Hartford Courant reports that a 37-year-old motorist who wasn't identified ran down 26-year-old Megan Perry around 10 at night on Wednesday as she was crossing Foxen Boulevard. Police say the driver was traveling northbound when the accident occurred. Perry was sent airborne by the collision. An off-duty firefighter witnessed the incident and remained on scene. The Milford resident was transported to Yale New Haven Hospital in critical condition, though police say her status was updated to serious but stable on Thursday, and she is expected to recover. The driver is expected to be charged. Police say the vehicle he was driving was unregistered, uninsured, and had a misused license plate. And in Milford, officials are looking into drafting an ordinance to close a loophole that allows boat trailers to be parked long-term on city streets. A River Cliff area resident attended this week's Board of Aldermen's meeting to ask the alderman to look into the matter. He said a boat trailer with a jet ski on it is regularly parked on Housatonic Drive, and he said it's a hazard and an eyesore for neighbors there. Kevin Collins, who lives on Housatonic Drive, pointed out that there are city regulations that prohibit people from parking motorhomes and recreational vehicles on city streets, but none addressing boat trailers. City Attorney Jonathan Burcham said his office will draft an ordinance prohibiting boat trailers from being stored on the street. The ordinance will then go to the Board of Aldermen's Ordinance Committee, being forwarded to the Board of Aldermen for approval. Alderman Frank Smith, chairman of the Ordinance Committee, said he has been looking into the matter and checking into what other communities do regarding parking of boat trailers. From preliminary questions, he said it may be that Milford is one of the few communities that does not prohibit boat trailers on city streets. Mayor Ben Blake said he believes similar issues may have arisen on East Broadway in the past along Silver Sands Beach. However, a Sydney ordinance would not address that area because East Broadway is a state road. You can get more information on that story at milfordmirror.com. And according to the Wilton Bulletin, the publication Golf Digest on December 17th left Wilton, where it was headquartered for 12 years. The monthly golf magazine's new location is in One World Trade Center in Lower Manhattan. While Golf Digest is gone to New York, Royal Wilton, the office putting green at 20 Westport Road, remains. And finally, the Diabetes Education and Support Group at Griffin Hospital is hosting 2 free talks about sugar substitutes, one on Tuesday, January 12th at 2:30 in the afternoon, and then at 6:30 in the evening at the hospital in Derby. Melissa, manager of clinical nutrition services at Griffin Hospital, will host sugar substitutes, the good, the bad, and the ugly. You can get more information on that at sheltonherald.com. Going to take one last look at the weather today. Currently around around 37 degrees in Shelton, but feels a bit colder. It will be warming up today, warmer than it's been, with a high of 41 degrees. A winter weather advisory has been issued for tonight through early tomorrow morning, mainly north of I-84 in northern Fairfield and northern New Haven counties. They're only expecting trace ice amounts, but it is enough to cause some icy spots if you're traveling late tonight into tomorrow morning. However, tomorrow it's going to warm up a bit. A high of 45 is expected. Sunday, high of 57 degrees for the Shelton area, but it is going to be rainy and windy. And that's going to do it for this Friday edition of your Coffee Break. Of course, this weekend, as we said, we have high school basketball coming up tomorrow at Fairfield University starting at 6 o'clock, so check that out. And of course, your Coffee Break will be back on Monday at 11. Have a great weekend, everyone.